fifth graders. So today is October 12th, 2020. And so a lot of you might know this day as Columbus Day. And we've celebrated this all growing up, Columbus Day. We've read about Christopher Columbus in books, and this is really a day to celebrate his discovery of America. But today, we're going to talk about how a lot of states and a lot of people are beginning to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day. And so this lesson will help us better understand whose holiday is it anyways. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so our first question is, was Columbus a brave explorer or a greedy invader? A gifted navigator or a reckless adventurer? These are some really great questions to think about because we've all heard of Christopher Columbus. We've learned about him. He has that little song, in 1492, Columbus sailed the open blue. It talks about him exploring America, and he's the one who discovered it. So today, we'll learn more about was Christopher Columbus as great as we remember and all these historians say, or is there more to the story? So let's better understand who is Christopher Columbus. Sorry, let me just move my little camera guy. She just doesn't want to move. All right, so who is Christopher Columbus? He's the explorer, Christopher Columbus. He made 4 trips across the Atlantic Ocean. 4! Can you believe that? He traveled from Spain. So he traveled in 1492. Does that sound familiar? He traveled in 1493, 1498, and 1502. So, which of these dates is Christopher Columbus most popular for? Which one is in that little rhyme I said? Go ahead and answer on the side. All right, correct. 1492. Remember the song? In 1492, Columbus sailed the open blue. Nice little rhyme. All right, so why did he set sail in 1492? And why out of all those dates is that one the most important? So, the goal of him traveling was to find a direct water route west from Europe to Asia, and he wanted fame and fortune. So what that means is to find a direct water route west from Europe to Asia is that he was coming from Europe, he was European, he was traveling from Spain, and they were beginning to discover that the way that they were used to traveling east was just too long, it was too hard, and that by land, it just wasn't possible anymore. So this was like a groundbreaking discovery that he wanted to figure out how to travel from Spain west to Asia. And he wanted to do this because he wanted the fame and fortune, just like a lot of people do when they want to make a discovery, they want to make an impact, and they want to be remembered by their legacy. So this was Columbus's goal. Did he accomplish his goal? Not quite. He accomplished different goals, but he did not exactly find a direct water route west from Europe to Asia. So, but why do we think he did? Instead, October 12th, which is today, it marks the day Columbus arrived to the Bahamas, not North America. So the Bahamas they're part of our lower part of the continent. There's a lot of different countries below us, and the Bahamas is part of those lower countries. So actually, Columbus discovered a lot of our South America countries first, not America. So on October 12th, the day that we're celebrating Columbus for today, he did not discover America. He discovered the Bahamas. Leif Erikson was actually the first European believed to have sailed to North America, and he landed in Canada 500 years prior to Columbus. So that's a big difference. Let's keep learning more about this because it's really interesting. But first, answer this question for me. So, where did Columbus land on October 12th? Answer on the side. Thank you. All right. So, while Columbus never reached Asia as planned, one cannot ignore his bravery for making the journey. That's very true. Even though he didn't actually achieve his goal of landing in America or going from Europe to Asia, we can't ignore the fact that the goal that he set out to achieve was really brave at the time. He was 41 years old. Everybody, all the haters, said that it was impossible. He couldn't do it. Well, Columbus ignored all of his haters and he led 4 voyages across uncharted oceans in his ships. So, even if he didn't actually achieve this, that's still pretty impressive. But here's the big question, friends. Why would people want to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day? What do Indigenous people even have to do with Columbus? Columbus was the one doing the sailing. He was the one who had this goal, and he was brave, Mrs. H. So what are you saying here? Why are we changing it? Well, it's a great question. 5th graders keep thinking that way. When Columbus first set foot on Hispaniola, he met a population of indigenous people called the Taino. So on the side, go ahead and answer our question. And for yourself, answer, why do you think people want to change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day? This is just your own brain thinking. It doesn't have to be the correct answer. It's just you thinking and answering, why are we going to change it? All right, thanks for answering. So, Taino were a friendly group willing to trade jewelry, animals, and supplies with sailors. They were so nice. But Columbus, I don't know if you know this, kept a diary while he was traveling. It's a really great way to document all these important historical things. So in his diary, Columbus kept while traveling, he wrote, "They were built very well, the Tainos. They should be good servants." Well, that's interesting, Columbus. So he met these people. He thought, they look really nice and strong. They could be my servants. So the indigenous peoples were soon forced into slavery and punished with the loss of a limb or death if they did not collect enough gold. At this time, Columbus was traveling back and forth between Spain and this new area that he had just discovered. And the king and queen, Ferdinand and his queen, were wanting him to collect more and more gold because they also wanted to become rich and famous. So Columbus was having the indigenous people he enslaved, because he thought they were good servants, having them dig for gold. And if they didn't find enough, or even if they did find some but they weren't following his directions, he would punish them or he would kill them. Between the brutal treatment from European voyagers and infectious diseases, the Taino population was destroyed. So between Columbus enslaving all these indigenous people, and because they were coming from a new country, Europe, they were bringing different diseases with them, like smallpox and chickenpox and all these different things that the indigenous people weren't used to because, they had been living here their whole lives. They had never come across the diseases that come from Europe. They began to die off. So about 500 years later, Columbus was awarded a national holiday to celebrate his discovery of America for creating a new way to travel. That's why we have Columbus Day, October 12th. It celebrates the day Columbus discovered America. But from what we've learned so far, did Columbus discover America? So after Columbus was awarded a national holiday, a lot of indigenous people were upset that a man who had enslaved, abused, and killed their ancestors was now being celebrated for discovering America when it was already discovered. It was already inhabited. And he had mistreated the people who were already there. So this is the point where you get to think for yourself and decide. Was Christopher Columbus a villain or hero? Should we celebrate Columbus Day or should we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day? So, on the side, go ahead and finish up our questions for this assignment. Answer these. Was he a hero or villain? And should we celebrate Columbus or Indigenous Peoples Day? This is important that we talk about because this is our country. This is our history. And remember, we learn social studies and history so that we can have a better tomorrow. So, I'd love all of you to think critically about all of this information that we just learned. And maybe you've never heard any of this before and thought, man, I thought Columbus was a good dude. Well, just because we learn all this doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's always great to learn new things. So I want you to think for yourselves and figure out what you want to think about Christopher Columbus and Indigenous Peoples Day, and think for yourself and come up with your own opinion based on the information that I've given you today. So thank you, 5th graders. Go ahead and finish up the assignment, and you'll have a great opinion writing today with Mrs. Brummett.